1:15 p.m. This is the Sri Lanka Broadcasting Corporation. The news edited by Catherine Pereira and read by Geethanjali Ramanayaka. The headlines. President Ranil Wickremesinghe delivers government's policy statement in Parliament. The President requests all parties to unite in a shared vision for the country's well-being and the future. The 2024 budget proposals mark the initial stride in essential reforms aimed at propelling economic development. The Urumaya program aims to reinstate people's rights. Efforts are underway to increase all medical aid from 50 to 100% this year. 785 more suspects arrested, drugs seized under the Operation Yuktiya. Foreign news: a snowstorm spoiled Lunar New Year travel for millions. President Ranil Wickremesinghe says the government expects to ease the tax burden on the people moving forward while stabilizing the country's economy by continuing to implement economic reforms. He made this comment while delivering the government's policy statement after ceremonially declaring open the fifth session of the 9th Parliament this morning. The head of state also spoke of the positive shift in Sri Lanka's economic trajectory. Despite a 7.8% GDP contractions and tax consecutive quarters of negative growth in 2022, the nation rebounded with 1.6% growth rate in the third quarter of 2023, he added. Several proposals were presented to guide the economy towards stability, showcasing a step-by-step approach to our overarching goals. The 2024 budget proposals mark the initial stride in essential reforms aimed at propelling economic development. Despite challenges and occasional reluctance, the economic reforms and policies have been instituted to set on the trajectory towards a stable economy, earning a recognition from international financial institutions for our targeted approach. Presently, we are gradually restoring local and lost opportunities through initiatives like the Urumaya program aiming to reinstate people's rights. Launching onto a successful economic development path demands special attention to all regions of the country, especially for poor and vulnerable communities. Despite facing severe economic crisis, we have consistently taken steps for the welfare of our citizens. This year, Aswasuma is expected to benefit 2.4 million people, aiming to uplift the living standards of those in the lowest socio-economic levels. Efforts are underway to increase all medical aid from 50 to 100% this year. Alongside these benefits, a scholarship program for school children has been implemented through the President's Fund. There is also room for a potential revision of the VAT percentage. All these endeavours are undertaken amidst a substantial debt burden. Throughout the past, concerted efforts have been made to formulate a strategic plan for repaying this debt. The domestic debt restructuring plan has been successfully executed as the first step, and a policy agreement for restructuring has been reached with foreign creditors as the second step. Negotiations with private creditors are presently in progress. Anticipated in the initial 6 months of this year, the intricate restructuring plan is poised to form a foundational framework for restoring our economy to normalcy. The enactment of the Anti-Corruption Act is a significant step in this direction, and its impartial implementation is evident for all to see. I would like to draw the attention of the House to key areas of focus in our economic and social modernization efforts. Tourism is a sector ripe for development, and we are actively working on enhancing both human and physical resources to attract more tourists with the goal of reaching 5 million visitors annually. Climate change is a priority concern, and we are taking initial steps to establish an international climate change university in Sri Lanka to spearhead research efforts. Another crucial focus is on attracting foreign investment to accelerate economic growth. Recognizing the challenges faced by foreign investors in Sri Lanka, we have formulated a comprehensive plan to simplify the investment process, eliminating bureaucratic hurdles and corruption risks. Efficient process for permits and facilities in some countries are completed with 2 or 3 days, covering aspects such as land, electricity, water facilities, and access roads. Education and health are vital focus areas which needs our attention. To address this, new practices and regulations aligned with international standards are being introduced for education and health. The goal is to modernize these sectors, ensuring the protection of vulnerable sectors such as fostering economic growth. Overcoming the challenges of the 21st century is imperative. Therefore, drawing from international experience, we must introduce new practices and rules in education and health. It's crucial to nurture human resources in a manner aligned with the modern environment. Specifically, immediate implementation of educational reforms is necessary. It is imperative to reassess our foreign relations in light of the current needs and geopolitical trends. The restructuring of our foreign relations should prioritize leveraging economic potentials. Therefore, adopting new foreign policies that enhance the country's economic strength and fostering non-aligned policies and friendships with all states are crucial. This news broadcast comes to you from the Sri Lanka Broadcasting Corporation. I urge each of you, why can't we adopt such perspectives despite our diverse ideas, ethnic backgrounds, language, provincial residencies, faith, belief and political affiliations? Why can't we unite in a shared vision for the country's well-being and the future? Why can't we reach a collective understanding for the benefit of our nation's youth? Why can't we join hands to reach great heights, the President said. In the interest of the nation's welfare and the prosperity of our youth, the majority of the Pojudana Peramuna have set aside past animosities and reached a consensus. Likewise, long-standing political allies have aligned with the Samagi Jana Balavega, including those whom I personally introduced to the political arena. If the Pojudana Peramuna can unite for the greater good, why can't the Samagi Jana Balavega follow suit? During the period of good governance, the Janata Vimukta Peramuna cooperated closely with us. MP Anura Kumar Dissanayake notably spearheaded the anti-corruption efforts, proposing Mr. Ananda Vijaypala to lead the anti-corruption offence, a position for which he maintains pertinent record to this day. So why can't the JVP join forces for the betterment of our nation? Although we may compete in elections separately, let us collaborate in nation-building endeavours. I extend my invitation once more to embrace a shared vision and common purpose for our country. Let us initiate change within ourselves, fostering unity and enlightenment. Today, let's create a new political ethos dedicated not to personal ambitions but to the collective aspirations of our nation. Our commitment lies in enriching the lives of our youth and future generations. Let's uphold this noble responsibility entrusted to us. Failure to prioritize this duty or personal agendas would be betrayal of country's and history's judgment. Let's embark on this new journey together, urging a brighter tomorrow and renewed nation. Join me in building a new era of our beloved country. Police Media Division says that it has been identified that nearly 5,000 schools in the island are addicted to the drug menace. 517 persons who sold drugs near schools have been taken into custody in a raid conducted by the Police Special Task Force. Therefore, measures have been taken to form a committee forum with the participation of students and teachers. Another 785 suspects have been arrested by Sri Lanka's police and security forces personnel within 24 hours, which ended at 12:30 am today. The arrests were made as part of the ongoing countrywide anti-drug operation Yuktiya. Among the arrestees are 596 suspects who were taken into custody on narcotic-related charges and 189 others who were on the list of wanted criminal suspects. Detention orders have been secured against 7 other drug suspects, while 4 others were referred to the rehabilitation centres, the Ministry of Public Security said. And that ends local news for now.
The main news story is brought to you by Sinhala Mahatmya.
An MOU to provide a stock of essential medicinal drugs to treat cancer patients have been signed by Minister Ramesh Patrana and Specialist Dr. Mahipala and the Mackay Lewis of the LDS US Charity Institute at the Ministry of Health today. It includes 13 varieties of essential cancer treatment drugs, which is valued at more than $1 million. And that was main news.
The main news story was brought to you by Sinhala Mahatmya.
In Watchlight, durian cultivation in the Central Hills has shown a considerable growth, but damages have been caused to these harvests by the monkeys and by other animals. The farmers say they are facing severe economic difficulties due to this reason. They said that there is no proper system to develop this cultivation in the area, which provides a high income for them. This is for the attention of the relevant authorities, and that was Watchlight.
Coming up, World News.
Headlines first. Snowstorm spoil Lunar New Year travel for millions. House Republicans fail to impeach U.S. Homeland Security Secretary. And Israel-Gaza war, Hamas responds to proposed Gaza ceasefire plan. Snowstorms and freezing rain have disrupted transportation in large parts of China as millions of people travel for the Lunar New Year holiday. Hundreds of flights and train services have been cancelled while motorists have been stranded on frozen highways for days. The holiday sets off the largest annual human migration as millions in China travel to their hometowns. Travel has also picked up after COVID-19 curbs were lifted over a year ago. Authorities expect 480 million trips to be made for the Lunar New Year, also known as the Spring Festival. The volume is 40% higher compared to the previous year. The Republican-led House of Representatives has failed a knife-edge vote to impeach Homeland Security Secretary Alejandro Mayorkas over the migrant crisis at the U.S.-Mexico border. 4 Republicans broke ranks and joined all Democrats in the chamber to vote 214 against the measure. The opponents of the U.S. President Joe Biden blame Mr. Mayorkas for a surge in illegal immigration at the U.S. frontier. Border security is becoming a top political issue in the 2024 election. 3 Republican defectors, Ken Buck of Colorado, Tom McClintock of California, and Mike Gallagher of Wisconsin, voted no on last evening. Hamas says it has given its response to a framework proposal for a new ceasefire in Gaza. The details of the deal set out by Israel, the US, Qatar and Egypt have not been released. It was earlier reported to include 6-week truce when more Israeli hostages would be exchanged for Palestinian prisoners. Israel and US have both said they are reviewing Hamas' response. The US Secretary of State Antony Blinken, who is currently in the Middle East, said he would discuss Hamas' response with officials in Israel today. Back to the headline of the world news. Snowstorms foil Lunar New Year travel for millions. House Republicans failed to impeach U.S. Homeland Security Secretary. And Israel-Gaza war, Hamas responds to proposed Gaza ceasefire plan. And that ends world news. And on to development news, Sri Lanka is preparing for the first ever textile and apparel roadshow in the UK, the third biggest mark for the sector, with the aim to boost exports $1 billion in 2 years from around $600 million at present. The landmark roadshow is a joint initiative by the Sri Lanka Export Development Board in collaboration with the Sri Lanka Apparel Sourcing Association, the Sri Lanka High Commission in the UK, and the Joint Apparel Association Forum. And that is development news.
Moving on with sports news.
Sri Lanka Cricket for the first time has launched a Women's National Super League. Accordingly, both 50-over competition and T20 tournament of the first ever Women's National Super League will be held back-to-back during the month of February 2024. The 50-over tournament, which commences today, is a major elevation for women's cricket in the country as they get to compete in the country's elite domestic competition, the SLBC said, and that was sports news.
Go ekak tiyana youth eකට life එකේ change එකට නියමෙට set වෙන්න ඇස් වහගෙන දැකපු ගීත හැබැයි කරන්න youth එකට නියමෙට set වෙන friendship එක මෙන්න.
The all new NSB Ithru Mithru account, NSB IM, a plan for your dream.
Business News, sponsored by National Savings Bank, the safest place for your money.
Tiles Lanka Limited has achieved a monumental milestone as Sri Lankan tiles make their debut in the Indonesian market. This historic accomplishment marks a significant shift in the global trade dynamics, with Sri Lanka transitioning from being a net importer to an exporter of premium quality tiles. Tiles is Sri Lanka's largest manufacturer, and that was business news.
Business News, sponsored by National Savings Bank, the safest place for your money.
Go ekak tiyana youth එකට life එකේ change එකට නියමෙට set වෙන්න ඇස් වහගෙන දැකපු ගීත හැබැයි කරන්න youth එකට නියමෙට set වෙන friendship එක මෙන්න.
The all new NSB Ithru Mithru account, NSB IM, a plan for your dream.
On to economic news. As part of their international growth strategy, MTI Consulting is looking to invest in tech startups. that can augment their core strategy consulting practice. And I quote, "We are looking to partially acquire, invest in startups that are strategically linked to our core strategy consulting in areas such as research, analytics, content generation, data visualization, project management, or any technologies that can augment our core strategy consulting practice, particularly one that optimizes generative AI," said MTI Consulting CEO Hilmi Carter. And that is economic news.
Weather report.
Mainly fair weather will prevail over the island. Misty conditions can be expected at some places in the central, Sabargama and western provinces and in the Galle and Matra district during the morning. And that was the weather report. Prior to concluding this news broadcast, the headlines once again. President Ranil Wickremesinghe delivers government's policy statement in Parliament. The President requests all parties to unite in a shared vision for the country's well-being and the future. The 2024 budget proposals mark the initial stride in essential reforms aimed at propelling economic development. The Urumia program aims to reinstate people's rights. Efforts are underway to increase all medical aid from 50 to 100% this year. 785 more suspects arrested, drugs seized under the Operation Yuktiya. Foreign news, snowstorms spoil Lunar New Year travel for millions. With that, we end this news broadcast from the Sri Lanka Broadcasting Corporation. And it's over to you, Satya, to continue with the rest of the programs.